It felt like that the most recent one for them. It was heavily just like you got to make sure that Kurt is able to get ahead. So we'll see as we're going to go ahead and load on into the draft. Liyab on your blue side, Resurgence on the red. And for those interested at home, we are on patch 10.6, and Wukong is enabled for today and for the rest of playoffs.
So that's pretty interesting, as we've seen a couple of slots for bans being focused more on the Pantheon. So now we'll see whether or not that will still happen, and as well a ban on Wukong to be consumed in the first rotation. I'm not very sure if the teams are prepared to use that just yet, so we'll have to see if there's going to be a surprise in the first game today.
Well, let's see here. As far as the bans go, it's kind of standard. Actually, we've been seeing a lot of the Olaf bans come out from Liyab, especially in their games yesterday when they were on the blue side. That one actually toward Epic, which is, I think, fair. Epic's actually been able to show himself to have a pretty decent Olaf when it comes to the early game. Still has trouble trying to close out the games as well, but still some high priority picks left on the table. As Set is going to be taken away. That means Senna or Aphelios will be making its way through the draft.
That's true. I guess it's the decision whether or not the team would decide to opt for, the usual Senna Tom Kench. And as well as I feel like the Trundle pick will be a huge contested pick, but never mind. They're taking it off the Rift right now. So Dodoy, Epic, the game is for you for this first game that we have today.
Well, that does mean we're going to have Exosin on the Aphelios once again. I believe he's currently undefeated when he gets the champion, and Liyab are currently one of the only teams to get that repeatedly throughout the course of the split. Now for Resurgence, though, what do they want to try and aim for here? Do they want to try and lock down a jungle, get some of that heavy priority? We could actually go ahead and see maybe that Rek'Sai getting picked up here for Epic, or they could just try and match pick for pick.
That's true. Secure your AD carry first, and as well as, especially Varus has been one of the top AD carries right now in the PCS, and Resurgence has been picking up surprises here and there in the draft. And an early pickup Twisted Fate is a hover. Not sure they could lock this in.
We've seen this hovered a couple times, but there is the Wukong, and it might be some monkey business up in that top lane as he's going to get locked in.
Very, very gutsy coming from Resurgence. We'll see whether or not that's going to be for Shinsekai. Meanwhile, Liyab, though, this is going to be different if they do lock in the Mordekaiser, which hasn't been really seen from Kurt. The only time that he had a really nice performance on not a carry laner was definitely on the Ornn. But now that's the Mordekaiser being picked up. I'm surprised.
Well, it's mainly, I guess he's thinking, what can I actually pick into this Wukong? Because usually we see the Wukong go in lane. It has also gone mid, so that is a possibility for Raven too. I believe it's been played mid once or twice over in the LPL. For Dodoy, though, it's going to be the Jarvan getting picked up for him in the jungle.
Yeah, it does make sense. You do want to get that counter against Wukong, especially that, the passive is way different now, not MR anymore. So right now, that's going to be another jungler being locked in for Resurgence, and that really matches the style of RSG being very aggressive early.
Yeah, so we do get to see the Rek'Sai getting picked up here for Epic as his Olaf was banned out. And that Trundle, like we saw earlier on by them in the first ban phase. Rek'Sai gives them a little bit of mobility around the map, can look to be aggressive and try and get an invade, maybe try and at least match and, try and snowball wherever this Wukong is going to go, because you've heard probably the nightmare stories when it comes to the reworked Wukong, how it's become a bit of a solo queue just stomper, especially if he's able to get ahead early.
Yeah, his win rate is definitely quite high, quite up there, and I think it's most especially the factor of not still adjusting to the new Wukong, so whether or not Liyab has already adjusted would be the biggest question. And just as you mentioned, where is this Wukong going to go? Where is this Mordekaiser going to go? As this is going to be the first time we're going to see Kurd use it, if it's really going to the top side.
Still a possibility that it could get played mid. I think it really depends on the matchup, but I like this from Resurgence. They're pretty much saying, all right, we want to see what the composition is going to be from Liyab, and then we get to decide where we put all these picks. It does mean, though, with the Thresh being locked in, the Kench was able to make it through into the second pick phase. Instead of being banned out usually from when we see players trying to go for a pick style support like a Thresh. So that's going to give some safety here for the Aphelios.
Indeed. as that is in if they do lock that Syndra in. Maybe the Silas. But I do want to praise this Thresh pick because countless of times when First Blood happens, it is on Liyab's side. Either Exo James dies, and it's due because of this Thresh pick. And Resurgence will definitely really bother or really annoy Exocent and James with this Thresh and see if they can get that First Blood.
All right, so Silas getting locked in. The hover of the Cassiopeia, we have seen it a couple times in the PCS, and it will be making an appearance once again, likely going to Raven now in the mid lane.
All right, pretty standard for Resurgence. For Liyab, on the other hand, if there's no swaps here between Rex and Kurd, then that is also pretty standard and quite refreshing, considering the fact that this is pretty much do or die for Resurgence. So we'll have to see Kurd and Shinsekai in the top side make some plays.
Yeah, especially here for Kurd, like, honestly, he's going on to a Mordekaiser, and like we've mentioned, we haven't seen him on anything similar to that for quite a long time. The last couple of appearances have been either on the Jace or somewhat of a carry. So for Liyab, it's putting all these eggs into the Exosin basket. And I'll be frank, 3 games yesterday they tried this. It didn't work out. He does have a Felios though, and you know how broke a Felios can be. So maybe that's the answer here for him, as we're going to go ahead and get loaded onto the Rift here for our first game of the day.
Pretty tricky. Again, for Liyab, they at least got 1 win already yesterday. But now, though, this is pretty scary for both of these teams.
I like how the Wukong graphic says Monkey King. I think something went wrong there. It's okay, though. Wukong in the top lane for Shinsekai, making its first appearance in the PCS. And again, everything is on the line here. Resurgence, if they lose this match, they will not be able to make playoffs. For Liyab, simply getting a win greatly improves their chances and guarantees they get to play a tiebreaker at least later on today.
More pressure definitely on Resurgence. Again, they had to play every single game, especially when it came to the second round robin. As again, we did mention they went 1-8 in the first round robin, and Dodoi sticking close to Epic at the first few moments of the game.
This is the top. This is the matchup, though, we're going to be watching quite a bit. Shinsekai taking on Kurd, especially with the new Wukong. I do expect Epic to... I expect Kurd to actually get camped quite a bit here early. I think this is going to be actually the more vulnerable lane when it comes to Liyab here. And it's going to be a big question on whether or not Kurd has been able to learn, how to, play patiently when it comes during the lane phase and not to be just consistently shoving in with no vision, because that was often the downfall when it came to him, especially just past the lane phase into the mid game where teams were able to exploit.
And that would definitely be the thing here for RSG, considering that is
a little bit of damage here. I think Raven may have to flash away. That's going to be, again, another slow. Does get the heal out. Rex waiting on cooldowns. Raven, though, will get to safety, but that forces him to have to stay in lane with barely any health.
And if you look at the opposite side, like you mentioned how Resurgence will definitely take advantage of the weak early game and how low mobile Mordekaiser is. Just as you mentioned, this is a completely different style. Usually you see Kurd in this high mobility champions like Fiora, Renekton, even the Lucian at times. So this is the complete opposite of what Kurd is usually like in the PCS. So now we also look at the mid lane as Dodoi will walk towards Epic. But now, though, Raven, at this point, is also very weak in the early phases of the game, and Rex can... Rex has a really solid level 3 as well on the Silas, so most likely the approach to this game is different, and they might even go focus on Rex.
Bot lane, though, level 2 is hit here for the side of Liyab, and they're able to get a decent amount of damage down onto Mexi. Oftentimes, they are the victims of that level 2 power spike that comes out from the Thresh once he's able to get the extra little bit of CC in the hook or the flay. And you saw there in mid lane, Raven gets forced back and he has to lose out on a decent amount of CS and experience because he didn't actually take teleport into this matchup, is running the heal. So that's going to give Rex a little bit of an advantage here early.
Absolutely, and considering we've seen a lot of, the former LMS squads do a triple teleport approach into the games, and now we have double teleports for Liyab, so that will really help them later on come mid-game to late, where they can sort of swap in and out who will get to split push later on.
For now, though, it's going to be a bit quiet, as Epic still doing a rather full clear of his jungle. Only now just going near his blue buff, but might decide to get the scuttle control, as you can see on your mini-map. With Liyab being this pushed up, though, that might be the target here, as Epic could make his way down. Doidoi, though, pings coming out toward the mid lane, so it might be just a bit of action in bot and mid here, as Epic's able to sneak around. Exton James a little far forward. Here comes Epic. They now realize something's going to be coming on over. Epic able to just get the knock up there onto James. James gets taken down. That's first blood going over to Resurgence.
This is exactly what we brought up before. Most first bloods really happen at the bottom side of the map for Liyab, and it's not in their favor. And that was a really good pathing coming from Epic. Very clean. Didn't get the knock up on towards EXO, but at that time, you know, James, of course, not going to be tanky at this point, and therefore you can practically just burn James down on this Kench.
And we mentioned it a couple times before. Without vision here, Liyab have always been exposed when it comes to their side lanes, so unfortunately for Liyab, though they are able to survive that level 2 that we often see from them struggle, Epic able to make a quick gank toward that bot lane and gets himself the first blood, pretty much the standard when it comes to Resurgence in the second round robin.
And again, both of these teams have quite similar traits, where both of Liyab and Resurgence get a lot of first bloods in their matchups. And you see Kurd just trading a little bit towards Shinsekai. But yeah, vision will play a huge role between these two teams, considering that we saw Resurgence keeping track of Doidoi at this point, and Rex roaming towards topside.
Trying to find a roam here. Shinsekai, some not great pathing coming out there from Rex is going to get him spotted out, and with another roam actually coming out from Rex, that's not going to pay off for anything. It's actually costed him a bit of that CS in mid, and Raven's actually back to equal now, even though he got poked out at level 1, as Shinsekai knocking quick feet on that Wukong, but decent damage coming out from Kurd. Shinsekai got to be a little bit careful here. I think he's just trying to bait in the fact that Epic is nearby, and Kurd, he's got to be a little bit careful, but he's able to flash away from the knock-up on Epic. He got level 6 off the kill as well, and Kurd, an absolute monster, indestructible at this point. Epic gets taken down. It's a double kill for the Mordekaiser of Kurd.
What a surprise! I'm pretty sure Shinsekai didn't see that coming at all, and because of that kill, because of, you know, Liyab just getting that level 6 too, Kurd just destroys and wins the 1v2.
And that is just unfortunate timing there for Resurgence. The level 6 is hit off the kill, and then he can go for the 1v2 with the ultimate.
Beautifully done, and, you know, Epic 2 levels behind, away from Kurd, so he's going to be very squishy, and at that point, Epic didn't have any more cooldowns, no escape. Wow.
Shinsekai's going to try and go for this, but here comes Epic. He's going to try and help out, and maybe Kurd, he still gets the kill in the end. A teleport from Rex is very late, but the shutdown does go on over to Epic, so a shutdown over to RSG. Unfortunately, though, it's not on to the Wukong, and Kurd's starting to just scale up.
And that is exactly the plan, and we did mention on how RSG will definitely try to camp Mordekaiser at the top side. But now Kurd is 3-1-0, and we've seen how Mordekaisers can get really snowbally into the game, especially in the hands of Kurd, who definitely outplayed the 1v2. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, he got the 1-1v2 in his favor. Second one there is a trade even, so that does mean the Rek'Sai gets a decent amount. Exosin, what are you doing that far in lane? James also going to get hooked up here. And Liyab, unfortunately there, James is going to force out his cleanse as well. Dennis still getting a decent amount of damage, but I have questions for Exosin. Again, his positioning getting a bit, you know, punished there, as he's wicked. He's just standing in the middle of the wave.
And he is very low too. He was already half HP. And with RSG having the Thresh as well. So you gotta be careful of the heavy engage of that RSG bot lane.
Oh, look at this. Shinsekai looking for a roam. Rex does have the Cassiopeia ultimate. I think Raven's going to try and bait him into a trade. Rex has been known to be a little aggressive. Jumps on in. He's going to go ahead. Sees Shinsekai, though, pop out of the brush, so they do at least bait out the Cassiopeia ultimate. This does mean, though, it looks like the side of Resurgence wish to rotate their lanes immediately, as Epic's already started on the Rift Herald.
What does Dodoi decide to do? Both junglers are now level 6. You see Shinsekai doesn't have teleport, so he will swap that out. Bot laners, though...
Raven, he's caught in the middle of the pit, and Kurd with a very nice sidestep, able to avoid the ultimate. Still getting damage on down. He should be able to get the kill, but no! Hama is able to keep him alive. Kurd now comes back into the land of the living. Here comes Dodoi on, looking to pull the trigger with his Cataclysm. He does not, though. And actually, Raven able to survive as Kurd doesn't finish off the kill, but that does allow Liyab to get the Rift Herald.
Kurd is playing out of his mind. That was a nicely done. Just to he phased away from Raven's ult, and that was beautiful. And because of that, they weren't able to finish off a kill off Kurd, and Raven is even forced to flash. And because of this, they're now getting more turret plates and even slowing down the process of Raven's lane as well. Kurd.
Oh, Kurd probably shouldn't be in the lane like that. He is going to get taken down as Liyab hard shoving the mid lane, trying to take down the tower. But again, the turret plating enhances the resistances the more turret plates you take. And we'll take another look here toward the Rift Herald fight.
All right, so Kurd ulted Raven here, so it's going to be them in the Shadow Realm. Beautifully done. I swear, Kurd, you are just magnificent, but a really nice hook coming from Dennis. Deny the final hit towards Raven, but since everyone from RSG is already low and they invested so much, they decide to concede this Rift Herald. So it was pretty worth for Liyab for sure.
Yeah, we gotta take a look here what exactly happened to Kurd. Does Mexi just pull the trigger on his ultimate and get a combo off? I think that's what happens. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, yep. That is definitely what happened. And since Kurd, no flash anymore, easy auto attacks from Mexi and as well as the ult. So that is definitely what you have to be wary of, the Dennis and Mexi combo, with especially the Thresh and the Varus. They really synergize each other well, especially when you want to hold them on a single ground, get that Q poke in, and as well as the Chain of Corruptions.
Yeah, and it's also going to be a lethality Varus, so this is kind of, you know, Resurgence already kind of saying that, you know what, we got to actually look for the advantages while we can. We have we got that self our early snowball onto this Rek'Sai. Fortunately, Epic hasn't been able to get any more gold onto anybody else on his team. But with Mexi now going lethality, he's going to have a bit of a cheaper build to get to that 6 items, and that's the point that Resurgence need to end the game by. Because unfortunately, when you go lethality Varus, once he hits 6 items, he doesn't get any stronger, and that Aphelios is just going to continue to scale up.
Yeah, definitely going to be relying on those heavy damage poke from this Varus for sure on this build. But now, so far, we've seen Epic just basically everywhere and making Kurd, just putting a lot of pressure on top side. Dodoi, on the other hand, has been around the Rift and trying to match Epic as well in the jungle.
I see there, Rex is just going to go ahead and clear out the wave as... Unfortunately, Kurd has been put down into the side lane. That does allow Shinsekai to pretty much freely scale up back again, even though he got put down early. Dodoi is nearby and maybe looking for a play here, as Kurd does have his ultimate available, but looks like RSG just looking to head back to base as Cloud Drake is on the map.
Yeah, and this seems to be an interesting swap between Liyab. They put their AD carry at mid, and meanwhile Rex to face Shinsekai over here. But now we'll have to see, as that is the reason, is probably the reason why is the teleport is still not off cooldown just yet, and Resurgence could probably try to take Dragon.
We see a lot of ward coverage, actually. A lot of protection there for Rex in the mid lane. There's about 3-4 control wards put down by Liyab, so a lot of vision in the mid section of the map, but the side lanes are still pretty bare when it comes to vision and safety. And then, though, just going to go ahead, though, and push in. We'll see whether or not the side of Liyab will wish to rotate down toward this Cloud Drake, as Dennis is just looking to clear out vision.
Yeah, quite understandable with the vision control that Liyab has established. Resurgence do like to dive and annoy them in the jungle.
Oh, double teleports coming out there from Liyab. They're going to be first to the party as Shinsekai has yet to actually pop his teleport, and now Rex ends up fanning the Chain of Corruption. And on top of that, too, Doidoi was able to secure the dragon. So Liyab find themselves one. It could have been a lot more. Shinsekai isn't able to break that first tower just yet.
Beautiful steal once more from Doidoi, and we've seen it a lot from either his Lee Sin, but you know what? It's quite similar. You can just flag and drag, close that distance, and now they're rewarded with another dragon and as well a tower in mid.
Still, though, with that first brick gold, it is going to be equaled out immediately by the Wukong in top lane. Let's take a look here, because this actually could have went a lot better if Rex didn't mess up the ultimate that he stole from Mexi.
That's true. It completely fanned out as RSG, Dennis and Mexi managed to escape. But for Liyab, they'll definitely take that, most especially that they got the dragon and eliminated a few members of RSG.
For RSG, though, it's still a small gold advantage. A lot of that based off the CS in the mid and bot lane is about 20 on each side. Top lane, Shinsekai has actually been able to finish off his first item and already starting to build toward likely, I believe, a Maw, so he can actually survive Kurd in the side lane for just a little longer. So for Kurd, he's starting to lose a little bit of that advantage. Hopefully he can try and find a play here, as now both teleports will be on cooldown for Liyab, but nothing really on the map to fight for the next minute until Rift Herald time.
Yeah, that's true for sure, as we've seen Resurgence start the Rift Herald already, but again, because of Kurd's initial 1v2, making him really painful early on, and that's the reason why Resurgence should be wary for Kurd, and as well as an early QSS for Shinsekai would mean he can't escape the Death Realm just in case.
Meanwhile, Epic, we've yet to really see this Rek'Sai pop off anywhere on the map. It was the 2 early kills, but has kind of slowed down when it comes to his advantage. Kurd, I don't see a whole lot of vision for you, bud. There is a scuttle, but unfortunately Epic doesn't really need to path that way. He can go over the wall if he wishes to. Doidoi's nearby, and this would actually be a nice little counter gank. Doidoi, though, does see the ward, and that's actually going to force Raven to have to end up using his flash, trying to escape here. Raven holding on to his ult as long as possible. He's actually able to, and Kurd is going to get knocked up, gets his shield back in time, but the rest of Resurgence are already there. Doidoi, it's going to be, unfortunately, his death as well. He gets popped up, goes golden, but he's only delaying time as Dennis with another hook, and Resurgence find 2 kills in top lane.
Nicely done! RSG playing different layers of bait. First, just showing Epic and Shinsekai, so Liyab thought that they were the ones doing the counter gank, but in truth, a lot of the members from Resurgence are already there. So Raven and Epic just needed to buy some time, and you know, you're not very strong, even though you're ahead, you can't face off these 4 members of RSG.
And for RSG, I was waiting to see when Epic was going to make another appearance, and he's also going to go ahead and pick up a Rift Herald. So, with that, it's a 1,500 gold lead now in favor of Resurgence, and you start to see them, you know, starting to come online here as Liyab are starting to fail to some old habits that we have seen throughout the course of the regular season.
Yeah, and remember, it was definitely Resurgence targeting Kurd constantly, being extended past that river in the lane, and RSG just kept copy-pasting that sort of strategy until, you know, Liyab ended up in shambles in their first victory for RSG. But in the meantime, though, we still at least have the Aphelios to wait and become that monster in the 5v5. So far, RSG has been catching Liyab off guard.
And it's also a bit scary here for Kurd, because you already look at his options for ults. There's already 2 QSSs coming out from the side of Resurgence. That Varus, he won't be able to bring into the Death Realm. Neither will he be able to do the same to the Monkey. And unfortunately, he's starting to lose some options here, especially the fact that he kind of starts to outbait himself when he was in that 1v1 with Raven. He was just trying to hold on to the ultimate. And speaking of ultimates, it's going to be popped here. But Rex able to get back to safety as Raven, I think he messed up his combo a little bit there. Ended up twin-fanging a minion instead of Rex.
I think that's what happened. And meanwhile, you see Epic just trying to make do with the lane still intact for the most part of the map. Definitely mid and bot.
Oh, Rex.
Doidoi.
Dodoy's nearby though, so it'll keep Rex safe as the mid laners have made bot lane their home, and we're going to have a Mountain Drake now spawning in about 10 seconds. For Liyab, that would be the third dragon of the game. Resurgence would like to start slowing down the pace though, if they could, and start getting some advantages in their favor, considering they still have this gold lead. And you're not on 2-item Varus just yet with the lethality build, but he still does a decent amount of damage to the squishy members of Liyab, like Exocen, and even to a fat Kurd, as he does not have any armor.
Raven has no ult.
There we go. Teleport's going to come on in. Dragon Pits are a great spot there for the Monkey as Shinsekai is going to jump on over, but Rex with a nice ultimate stole it away from the Cassiopeia. Shinsekai, though, into the back line. Rex goes down golden, and there's going to be a double stun coming out from Raven into another double knockup, and this is the power of that Wukong as Liyab are getting cleaned up in the Dragon Pit. And that's going to be 4 members getting taken down for the price of 1 dragon in favor of Liyab. Hama is underneath the tower, trying to go for the 1v1. Unfortunately, Raven is just too far ahead at this point, and that's going to be Epic soaking up the damage for just a little bit longer. The ace for Resurgence.
They were all trapped in that Beyblade pit there, and that was just perfect for a setup for Shinsekai to get that clone, to get that Cyclone working, and it just worked in their favor. I was worried because Raven didn't have ult at the time, but it just... The fight was just so long that it came back on cooldown after using that early in the bot side of the map, and you see Exocen just committing so much on the jungler and wasn't able to finish off the kill.
Yeah, unfortunately there, that's the power of this Wukong, especially the fact now he gets 2 ultimate activations, so you can get a bunch of knockups, and like you mentioned, a Beyblade pit spin to win, and with that, Resurgence are going to now find themselves 5,000 gold ahead of Liyab off 1 dragon fight.
That's insane. That is absolutely insane. And so far, the game has progressed into a more equal and more exchange sort of deal for both RSG and Liyab. But the thing is, Resurgence is winning the surprise, the ambushes, if you will, on towards Kurd most especially. And now that we look at Liyab's vision control, a lot of them are on the defense. And as you can see, Mexi is really farming it up, and as well as Shinsekai. So RSG's lanes are doing well.
Yeah, RSG are going to be looking pretty happy as they see that gold graph. Mexi almost at 9,000 gold, and like I mentioned, the lethality build is pretty cheap, so he's already pretty much halfway done. And Dennis, hook, not going to connect there. We're still waiting, though, for this Aphelios to try and scale up into the later part of the game, and it is a bit of a timer here for Resurgence, where you actually do need to try and finish out this game while you have the advantage. You don't want to have to always rely onto that late game team fight where Raven would have to carry everything.
Yeah, and that is definitely the backup plan for Resurgence here on this Cassiopeia. And most likely it will really boil down to, since it has been a slow, after the laning phase, it has been a waiting game for both of these teams. So Baron.
Ooh, Doidoi goes over the wall, but he's forced to flash out immediately as he was trying to contest the ward, I guess. Either way, that's going to allow Resurgence to just pile in, put down ward coverage, and Resurgence, this is a team on a mission. Remember, if they drop a single game today, they will not be able to make playoffs. And if they're able to find the victory in this game and the game later today, they actually own the tiebreaker against Liyab, which is even more scary for this Liyab roster where it becomes really do or die depending on the games of J-Team and Hong Kong Attitude.
And also remember, this team was the one that beat, J-Team. Also Liyab, of course, and as well as their fellow LST team, which is Nova. So for Resurgence, they're really used to fighting these sort of strategy on where they're very aggressive. And as you can see, Dodoi always wanting to start a fight, and as well as paired with Kurd, so RSG will really make sure that the rest of the members are nearby. So it's all about that bait, because Liyab likes to play aggressive no matter what state in the game.
And Mexi also getting his Edge of Night now online. You can see he's going to be able to soak up that first initiation that could possibly come out from Liyab if Dodoi isn't able to break the shield. His knockup won't follow on through, so there's some safety here from Mexi now, as the timer is still ticking. Kurd and Shinsekai in the river, just going to fight over the scuttle. Shinsekai is also pretty much online. Once you have Black Cleaver on Wukong, you just got that extra 20% cooldown reduction and the armor shred, and you're looking pretty happy on the Monkey.
Indeed, and Raven as well getting that Rylai, so absolutely the survivability of Raven is there, and as well as the tools to just disrupt any sort of 5v5s. And
Wow.
Dodoi.
There we go. Dodoi gets caught out there into the chain of corruption. Sensekai though with a massive ultimate on the back line. Finds 3 members back to back in his ultimate. And Liyab are just shredded apart as Kurd trying to go for the 1v5. He'll get taken down. It's a triple kill for the Wukong.
What a massive fight for Resurgence, and that not only kills 4 members from Liyab, but it also garners them the Baron, and this is turning into an out-of-control Monkey King right now for Resurgence. Shinsekai played that really well.
And unfortunately, the snowball is just continuing to get out of control, starting to turn into an avalanche as now Rex trying to run for his life. Epic is able to find the tag, maybe tries to turn it around with the Wukong ultimate, but unfortunately for Rex, he's going to get taken on down, and it is the delayed ace for Resurgence, a Baron buff in hand, and a massive gold lead.
Let's take a look at this again. So Shinsekai, they had no idea he was lurking around, and Liyab just said, oh no, this is the wrong position. And now because of the knockups, because of the CCs, everyone just had to fall from Liyab, and that was great work from Resurgence.
Yeah, you see there, Kurd, he was trying, but unfortunately he wasn't that far ahead. He's gone from a 3-1 scoreline now to a 3-5 as the team has been throwing every resource into these fights. And now you look at the kill count, it's 4-16. The game is out of control. Liyab, there might be a hope where they can get a Mountain Soul at this point, but I feel like they're too far behind that they now have to just try and turtle what they can, get Exosin into that late game hyper carry of the Aphelios, and hope for the best.
And that's the thing, so you will run out of choices. Before, when the game started, you had Kurd, you had Rex, and now you're just banking on Exosin now.
Exosin? We'll have to wait as Raven's going to be able to get the ultimate down. He's in the 1v1 here with Kurd. The rest of the team waiting for them to pop out here as there's Dodoi with a nice knock-up, and he's actually finished off the kill. He ends up missing with his Cataclysm, though, as Raven gets to safety. And it goes bad to worse here as now Shinsekai is able to find his knockups. Exosin is here on the Aphelios, has the Runan's Hurricane, but unfortunately, it's already too late. That's another 2 kills in favor of Resurgence.
Wonderfully done. Again, Resurgence keeps baiting this out of Liyab. It is Liyab that wants to fight. It is Liyab that sees 2 members. That means we gotta go. But at the end of the day, Resurgence is prepared for this playstyle. They have lingering members around the jungle, and that's why they can take the 5v4 temporarily as Liyab tries to pick up the pieces.
And unfortunately, it seems Resurgence has become a bit of the kryptonite when it comes to this Liyab squad, both now and in the past when it used to be Monetsky getting, denied there from the finals a couple of years ago. Now, let's take another look here as Kurd, he gets it again. The 1v2, he tries to go for it, but unfortunately, he can't kill Raven fast enough.
And that's the thing. We did mention about Raven, having that Rylai's, having the max stacks on the Seraph's Embrace, which means it will really be hard to kill Raven, considering you didn't have Exosen at the time. So, with that said, especially you count in Mexi, who doesn't need to land all of these autos and just rely on the Q, he's going to be very far back and be satisfied with his positioning.
So now, that's going to be not the inhibitor tower taken as Resurgence, though are ahead. It's only still 25 minutes into the game. They're going to go ahead, start setting up vision around the Dragon Pit, as it will spawn in about 2 minutes. That is a 4,000 Baron power play coming out there on top of the 1,500 they get. So now about 9,000 in favor of Resurgence.
Whew.
You got 3 to 4 items now on a lot of the carries. It's starting not to look too good here for Liyab.
Yeah, and the thing is, we've never seen Liyab play from behind or be successful from behind, playing from behind, rather. And with that Resurgence, though, once they snowball, that one instance, which was, against AHQ, which was not that significant of a lead, but for Resurgence, right now, they look like big monsters at the moment.
For Liyab, it's just trying to stall this out. Is it going to happen, though? Is Exit? Oh, he got chunked there by the piercing arrow coming out from Mexi, and they'll have to back off. That tower goes down to about half health. They're going to wait for the next wave. Raven's also pathing down. Liyab, if there's a place to hold, they'll be at these choke points, but unfortunately for them, Wukong loves fighting in choke points. Rex is going to steal away the ultimate, so he has a Wukong ultimate of his own.
And now it's going to be the defense for Liyab as Resurgence is ready to fight. They are geared to fight, and it all will boil down to a hook, to an engage from Shinsekai, or perhaps them just being satisfied with shoving that wave and going for Dragon instead.
Yeah, it looks like they're just trying to stall out Dragon while they can and try and deny some of the vision. Dennis gets a nice hook there on James. A decent piercing arrow from Mexi, able to chunk Doi Doi to about 2/3 health. But 45 seconds on the Mountain Drake. For Resurgence, they don't really have any side lane pressure, so this is just them just trying to, get priority from bot lane and then try and deny vision where they can, so that forces Liyab to have to blindly go into their jungle.
Yep, and that has been the play in mind to further their lead, considering that has happened many times when they first face each other in the PCS. Again, Resurgence blasted Liyab at that time when they faced each other. And now it's looking like a similar scenario.
It's a pretty tall gold lead to try and come back here from, as Liyab currently staring down the barrel of what could be a 6-12 regular season. And then it all comes down to whether or not Hong Kong Attitude or J-Team are able to win their games later today. Now Resurgence go ahead to start up the Dragon. Senskai and Epic are able to do that pretty fast, and that's going to be their second Dragon. Starting to stack up Mountain Drakes.
All right, so now for Liyab, rather for Resurgence, at least deny a Dragon Soul out of Liyab. And now for the Philippine squad, they've managed to at least slow down the game. I'm just worried about Kurd, being very brave, extending towards these, out of the base rather, considering that RSG has complete control over that jungle.
Thing here for Kurd, he's gone pretty much full damage at this point. He only has a little, sliver of armor as he is starting to build toward his Zonias. But he can actually go into the 1v1 in this side lane, I think Shinsekai could easily just tear him apart on that Wukong. So he can't even ult him either with the QSS being picked up from Shinsekai. So the side lane, Kurd is kind of stuck. He likes to clear out the waves, and he can't be aggressive like he usually is. So at least that forces him to have to play a little bit safe, but at this point, it just gives full control over to Resurgence, who have already started up the Baron, and they can do this so easily with a Cassiopeia.
Exactly, and didn't even need the rest of the members too, so they can just lie in wait, and now that there's no one coming from Liyab, might as well just pour all our forces, and with that, that's the second Baron of the game. It's RSG, complete control with Liyab just hoping for a potential outplay when RSG decides to engage on them.
It's looking dire here as they're going to start escorting minions into the base. Resurgence looking to keep the dream alive for playoffs. If they are able to find the victory here and then take down Talon later today, they can force a tiebreaker between them, Liyab, and then whoever is still tied between Hong Kong Attitude and JT. It's scary.
And now towers are falling. It is very scary.
That's going to be now the first tower going down. Second tower in mid lane as well. Inhibitor going to be whacked upon here. Senskai going a little bit low. Does pop his Sterax, but that still means the Inhibitor in top lane is going to be the target. Kurd first does get hooked there by Dennis. Dennis has had some amazing thresh hooks. And this game now, Liyab's base starting to fall into shambles as that's 2 Inhibitors exposed, 1 already taken down. And Dragon going to be spawning in about 2.5 minutes.
And because of the wave shoving in favor of RSG, Liyab doesn't have much of a choice but try to clear the waves as to not endanger a potential wipe, and then RSG is just going to finish the game there and then. So now, Shinsekai will shove this wave at bot, and the rest of the members as well.
Unfortunately, you're putting so much pressure now onto Exosin, who, gets just chunked there by Piercing Arrow. Doi Doi gets a little bit aggressive there over toward Epic. He's going to go into stasis, does get himself back to safety. Another arrow onto Exosin, and Shinsekai hunting over toward the side. That forces the Aphelios to go back into the fountain. And now that is the second Inhibitor falling. Make it the third here as Resurgence now going to start pouring in double super minions. Rex decides to go and make the play, tries to make it happen. Exosin, though, he's on the back line. He's getting shredded apart by Sensekai. Sensekai, though, not able to finish off the kill. It's up to this Aphelios to stay down, but unfortunately, it's not going to happen. Resurgence keep playoffs alive, and if they don't take the victory later today, they may have brought Liyab down with them, as it's just Kurd remaining to defend the base, but he's on the wrong side of the minion wave, and Resurgence 6-22. Liyab go up in flames on their final day of the regular season.
What a wild game from Resurgence. And this is not only, you know, Raven taken off on the Cassiopeia, but it's also Mexi and Dennis having supreme skill shot accuracy and just destroying Liyab there and then. And right now, again, history has repeated itself, as you did bring up the, you know, the Mineski Resurgence back at GCM 2018, and where the scores went a little bit shaky because Resurgence won their first game against Mineski, or their last game against Mineski, and Mineski didn't go to semifinals because of Resurgence, and now we're seeing it again.
Yeah, there's this pretty big possibility now that Liyab don't make playoffs because of this one matchup. If J-Team and Hong Kong Attitude are able to find victories, that means Resurgence, even if they were able to get the win later today, it all depends now on HKA and J-Team's games, where Resurgence may have just, you know, taken Liyab out of the playoffs with them.
Exactly, and again, it seems to be the trend or the bane for Liyab. I mean, they were doing really well, especially Kurd winning the 1v2, but for Resurgence, I have to commend their, you know, how they stabilized it and how that didn't really phase them despite, you know, having that not so good of a start for themselves, and they were very patient and played to their win conditions.
Yeah, I have to question, you know, what's going on here, because we see amazing games come out from Liyab last night in their final one against Nova, where Kurd was able to just, you know, take home the victory, but it seems every time they put all their eggs into the Exosin or Rex basket, it just does not pay off.
And there you go, the dream is still alive for Resurgence, and it is quite a wild journey for them, considering, again, from the first round robin, they went 1-8, and their first victory was also against Liyab. So now that they have set up the tempo, especially the last moments of their run in the regular season, it's looking really, really solid for them.
Yeah, and you take a look at the post-game stats. Yeah, Mexi, pretty huge onto that Varus. He was able to get the kills early, and that's the thing with the lethality Varus. If you're able to close out that game before 35 minutes, it's a for sure deal, as now Resurgence still needing at least one more game victory here today, and they can make it into the playoffs. There's still the possibility of a massive four-way tie at the end of the day if the possibility remains where J-Team and HKA aren't able to take home their victories. It's still up in the air.
Yeah, there's a lot of mystery still, and a lot of crucial games heading on for the last day of regular season. And I just want to say that my favorite part of this game is that Resurgence seems to really know the attitude or the habits of Liyab. They've always managed to bait them out in 2v5s, and because of how familiar this fight is for them, it seems they got the upper hand and managed to outplay them, like, macro-wise, I suppose.
Yeah, and it's been a bit of a different team from Resurgence ever since we've seen Epic come into the roster, replacing Gengar. Likes being aggressive. We saw it again. Got first blood for his team. I think that's a fair MVP, though, going over to Dennis. He had some nasty thresh hooks and some really good timing, especially on Kurd when he was coming out of the death realm.
Indeed, and every single hook really did count, and not only to sort of disrupt any potential kill and finish it off, but it's also a good setup for the chain of corruptions, and as well as the massive pokes coming from Mexi on the Varus.
So again, congratulations over to Resurgence as they're able to take home the victory over Liyab. And they own the tiebreaker against them in the 0-2 in favor of them over the course of the round robin. So Liyab, ooh, it is a ugly situation to be in, especially the fact that you would still have to play a tiebreaker against HK or J-Team tomorrow, depending on how the results play out. But there's this really solid realization now for this team where they had a really good start. This team looked very promising out of the Philippines. Looked like one of the best rosters we've seen out of Liyab/Manensky in a long time. And it's just kind of fallen apart here in the second round robin.
And it's one of those things and where what happened, where did it all go wrong? Because just as you mentioned, they look really, really solid. And I think because of the similar play styles, it's one of the things and where who can do it better sort of situation. And Resurgence really shined in all of the lanes.
Well, we're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, though, it's going to be our next battle of Southeast Asia. Berjaya taking on Nova.